So here we're dividing two expressions. So we have coefficients in both the numerator and the denominator that we'll need to simplify. And then I have x's and y's and z's to work with here. So let's start with just our coefficients. So we have a negative sign here, which means my simplified expression will also be negative. 12 divided by 3 is just 4. So my numerator will have a negative 4 in it. Sometimes when you simplify, you won't get a whole number, or when you try and divide those coefficients, you won't get a whole number. In that case, whatever your simplified fraction is, it will be numerator and denominator. Let's focus on the x's. So again, I'm going to write over here how we might want to visualize those. So we have x squared, so that would be x times x over x to the 5th. So 5 x's multiplied together. So looking at this fraction now, if I'm focusing on just the x's, if I think about what I can cancel out, or what would divide out from the top and the bottom, so this x and this x, and then my second x's can cancel out. So when I cancel these out from the numerator, it doesn't become a 0, it becomes a 1, because these are just being divided, right? An x divided by itself is just 1. So my numerator here would be 1 over, and I still have 3 x's being multiplied together in the denominator. So 1 over x cubed. So this x cubed, since it's in the denominator here, since I had a larger exponent in the denominator than I did in the numerator, that means it will be an x cubed down here in the denominator of my simplified version. I can write a multiplied 1 here for now if I want to, or I can just recognize if I multiply by 1, that's not actually changing the value, so I'm just going to not include that here. Let's focus on my y's. So same idea here. I have y to the 1st, right? I can assume there's a 1 there, or draw it in if that's helpful. So the numerator is y to the 1st, the denominator is y squared. So you may have noticed what I did here when I was canceling things out, I really just figured out how many more x's are being multiplied in the denominator than in the numerator. So here, if I look at the 2, exponent of 2 versus an exponent of 1, there is 1 more y being multiplied in the denominator. Or I can look at it by subtracting the exponents, 2 minus 1. So that means there should just be y to the 1st in the denominator, which I can just write as y. Again, if you want to visualize that, there's 1y in the numerator here in my original. The denominator is y squared, which would be y times y. So only one of those y's can be canceled out, which would simplify to 1 over y. So that's why I have a y in the denominator over here. And then I have my z's. So the z's are interesting because the exponents are the same here. I have z to the 5th in the numerator and z to the 5th in the denominator. Well, that just simplifies completely to 1. I have the same exact number of z's being multiplied in the numerator and the denominator, so those really just cancel each other out. So I'm gonna make this look a little prettier. So it would just be negative 4 over x cubed y.